Today you are going to learn 2 different natural medicines that you can make to treat insect bites and stings in a grid down situation. So if things ever go sideways, and if you or a loved one ever suffer a nasty insect bite or a nasty sting, and you just can't run down to the nearest pharmacy to get some medicine for some relief from that, then this video might be an answer for you. And this video is just one video in a whole playlist that I am doing on how natural medicines can be made in a grid down emergency situation. And I'm going to consume on video every natural medicine that I make so that you can see that they didn't kill me. Now let's get on with it. So today we are going to make 2 different natural medicines to treat insect bites and insect stings from the broadleaf plantain plant. Now first of all, why exactly is the broadleaf plantain so good for treating insect stings and bites? First, it's anti-inflammatory, so when you have a sore spot from that bug bite or that sting, this plant will help that swelling go down, which provides you relief. It also has a cooling effect, which soothes the burning and the itching from that bite or that sting. It's also antimicrobial, so it can prevent infection at that site of the bite or the sting. And it helps your skin to retain the moisture at the site of that bite or that sting, which again just helps with the healing process. And both my wife and also one of my closest friends can attest to the power of this little broadleaf plantain plant when it comes to treating insect bites and stings. At different times, the both of them had gotten pretty nasty mosquito bites. I'm talking the type where their skin really welted up and was itching the heck out of them. And we put just a little bit of this broadleaf plantain directly on that mosquito bite, and it immediately went away. So now that you know why this plant is so good for bites and stings, let's get on with making the medicine with it. And the first medicine that we're going to make is going to be a broadleaf plantain poultice, which is what you would actually put over that fresh bite or sting. So the first step in making this poultice is I'm just going to gather a handful of the leaves from the broadleaf plantain. Now, depending on how many bites or how many stings you have would dictate how many of these leaves that you harvest for this poultice. But for today, I'm just going to gather just a handful of these leaves for this. And the leaves I'm really going to go for are going to be the smaller, more green, fresher, less damaged leaves. And now I'm just going to wash these leaves that I collected so that it removes any dirt that might be on them. And now I'm either going to just tear these leaves up a little bit more or cut them up just so they fit inside my mortar and pestle just a little bit easier. Now I'm just going to place the leaves into my mortar and pestle here, and I'm just going to crush and macerate these leaves. What I'm really going for here is a paste-like substance, and if I need to add just a little bit of water to reach that paste-like substance, I can. Now, if I had a nasty bug bite or a sting, then I would just put the poultice directly on top of that bite or that sting, and then I would affix the poultice in place by putting a bandage or a band-aid or cloth or something like that to hold that poultice over that bite or that sting spot. And in this case here, I just grabbed a plantain, broadleaf plantain leaf, and I'll just wrap that around my finger, much like a band-aid. And then what I'll do now is I would just leave this poultice on until that pain or that itchiness went away. And then after 30 minutes, if it's still itching or bothering me, then I would go ahead and put a new piece of poultice on and rewrap it again and keep repeating that process until that sting or that bite eventually quit hurting me. And now we're going to make the second natural medicine in this video, which is going to be a tincture from the broadleaf plantain. So if for some odd reason you end up with some kind of a bite or a sting when maybe it's in the colder months and you don't have all the broadleaf plantain plentiful out there, you can make this tincture that will work for you at any time. Let's go. If you really want to take control of your medical prepping, you can get this book that I wrote that has over 400 pages of simple recipes of how you can make natural medicine after the grid goes down from the common trees and plants that grow around you. If you have high cholesterol or high blood pressure or high blood sugar, there's recipes in this book for you. I wrote this book to be a potential lifesaver for when the grid goes down and you don't have access to professional medical help. And at the time of me filming this insert, it has over 400 pages and costs about 25 bucks. But if you don't want to pay 25 bucks for a physical copy of this book, there is also an ebook version that only runs about $10, and I will put a link to both of these down below so you can check them out if you want to. And if you don't want to learn how to make your own natural medicine, then you should check out Jace Medical, because through Jace you can get a year's worth of your prescription medicines up front. That way if the grid ever goes down, then you will already have a year's worth of your cholesterol medicine or whatever medication that you're on already stockpiled. And through Jace Medical, you can also get a stockpile of antibiotics also. For me and my family, I do both. I am learning how to make natural medicines, plus I also have the Jace case. And again, I'll put a link to all of these down below. Now let's get back to the video. So I'm going to harvest enough broadleaf plantains to fill this mason jar. Now I'm going to fill this jar up, but I'm not going to cram pack it down. I'm just going to fit it in there pretty full. And I'm especially going to go for the younger and more green and less damaged leaves. And now I'm just going to wash the leaves like normal to remove any dirt or debris. And because I got those wet when I washed them, and because water dilutes alcohol, the alcohol that we're going to make our tincture with, I have spread these out and I'm going to let them air dry for just a few minutes to get rid of that excess moisture. And now since these leaves have had a few minutes to air dry to get rid of the excess water, now I'm going to cut them up in pretty small pieces and then dump them into this mason jar. Now I'm going to put these cut up plantain leaves back into the mason jar. Now when I am using fresh leaves instead of dried leaves, I like to fill my jar up about 75% of the way full. And when you account for the airspace that's already in the jar between the leaves, I believe this jar is now going to be about 75% of the way full. And whenever I'm using fresh plant materials in my tinctures, such as fresh leaves or fresh flowers or fresh walnut hulls, I like to use a high-proof vodka like 90 or 100 proof vodka. And that's because fresh plant material has a lot of moisture in it, and moisture dilutes your alcohol. Now if I were using dried leaves, I would probably use 80 proof vodka, but since I'm using these very fresh, just freshly picked leaves, I'm going to use my 100% proof vodka here, and I'm going to fill this jar to the very top rim with this 100 proof vodka. And again, I want the vodka to come to the very top rim here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the lid on, and now I'm going to give it a little bit of a shake to see if it releases any air bubbles that may be trapped down here and release them to the top. And now since I've shaken it to release any trapped air bubbles, now I'm going to check the level of alcohol. And if any trapped air bubbles that had been released had caused my level of vodka to go down, then I would just simply pour just a little bit more vodka in there just to top it off. What I don't want is for any of the vegetation to be above the vodka line, because any vegetation that's above the vodka could actually mold, and that could ruin my tincture. So now I'm just going to put the lid back on it, and I'm going to prepare to store it for the next 6 weeks while the vodka extracts all the medicinal good stuff out of these leaves. Now after labeling of what tincture this is going to be, I am now going to place it in a cool, dark place for the next 6 weeks. And then every couple of days, every couple of days, I will take it out and give it a gentle shake and put it back into storage until it's ready.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Okay, now since it's been in a cool, dark place for 6 weeks, let's go ahead and get the tincture out. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to strain the tincture from the vegetation using this handy dandy little fine mesh strainer. And now I'm going to pour the finished tincture into the dropper bottle. Now I'm going to label the front of this tincture bottle so I know what kind of natural medicine this is. And they say that tinctures can last up to 5 years, between 3 to 5 years. So I like to be on the cautious side and go ahead and make mine expire about 3 years from now. And then I'm also going to label the back side of the bottle too, so I know what other ailments that this tincture will treat. And I also like to put the dosage on the bottle too. Okay, now as far as dosage goes for this is meant to be applied topically. And I don't have any nasty insect bites or stings right now or anything that's bothering me. But if I did, what I would do is I would put a few drops of that on the bite or the sting and then let it air dry on the affected area, and then just repeat that every 20 minutes or 15 minutes or something like that until that bite or that sting quit bothering me. Hey folks, I am not giving medical advice in this video. I'm only showing what I would do in an emergency grid down situation. So if you try anything that you see in these videos, you're doing it at your own risk. So if you like this video where I quickly showed you step by step how to make this natural medicine, then comment down below with other elements that you would like to see natural medicines made for. Because I'm going to be doing plenty more of these types of videos. And to see more videos on how to make natural medicines for different ailments, then click on the playlist that should be appearing on the screen just about now. And this playlist is going to be growing as I film more of these videos. Anyways, folks, this is enough internet for me today. I do need to get back to work. And folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching. And I pray that you have a good night.